680's Richard Southern joins us now. Richard, I know you've been keeping a close eye on the markets all day today. So what happened today after Monday's history-making meltdown?
Back for stocks, Francis. We saw the buyers move back in, and when the closing bell rang on Wall Street, the Dow was up 567 points. A 567-point gain for the Dow. That's a 2 1/3% increase. It was, though, a roller coaster ride of a day. Big up and down moves, and, you know, coming off that big sell-off yesterday, driven, we think, by computer algorithms doing crazy stuff, driven by worries about interest rates going up and worries about a return to inflation in the U.S. But again, up more than 500 points today. S&P and NASDAQ were higher, and the TSX managed to gain for the first time in 7 days. The TSX was up a modest 29 points, with Canada stocks leading the way. Canopy Growth gained 19%. But again, lots of volatility here. How do we deal with the volatility when it comes to our investments? We asked Barry Schwartz with Baskin Wealth Management.
You know, this is pretty crazy, and it's unsettling, and I can understand investors throwing their hands up and saying, maybe I should do something. I would say, don't do anything. The worst thing you can do is make a change in your portfolio when the market is gyrating like this. Obviously, you should have done it 2 weeks ago. If you want to make changes, maybe wait a little bit. You only find out how much stomach you have for the stock market after you've been punched in the face.
Francis, traders have taken it in the chin, but again, bit of an uptick today. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
You know, and it's not often that Donald Trump is left without any words, but U.S. president hasn't said a peep about this sell-off.
No, he hasn't. Trump regularly pointing to the rising stock market as evidence of the success of his presidency and as a success of his economic policies. For months, he boasted about steering the U.S. stock markets to record highs, but he has not, as you say, mentioned the sell-off on Monday. We'll see if he chimes in on the Dow's 500-plus point jump today. In an interview last year with the Associated Press, Francis, Trump seemed to recognize the risk of pointing to the markets as a sign of progress. He said, quote, "You live by the sword, you die by the sword to a certain extent when it comes to this."
Yeah, except now. But let's see. So, you know, I think everyone was mesmerized, glued to the TV set.
You guys watch that in the newsroom?
It was pretty incredible. So we're talking about SpaceX. If you didn't see it, this is the massive Mars rocket, which launched up, but also has a very interesting payload.
Yeah, it's Elon Musk who owns this company, SpaceX. He put his own car in there, Francis, his own
That's cool.
Tesla Roadster. That's it. That's it before it took off. And there's a dummy in there in the driver's seat. And sure enough, this rocket takes off. This is the largest rocket now, bigger than anything NASA currently has going, bigger than the Russians. And it's made from reusable parts, 23 stories high, but it successfully took off, went into orbit, and you're seeing on the right here.
This is what's incredible.
The rocket boosters come back down to Earth.
Perfectly.
So what that does, and no one has ever done that before, not NASA, not anyone, what that does is save money. That's what this whole thing is about. This whole launch costs only $90 million, cheap in terms of rocket launches. So it really changes the game as far as heavy lifting rockets are concerned. That dummy and that car, it's going to go close to Mars. It could be up there for 1 billion years. But what Musk eventually wants to do is send humans up to the red planet, Francis.
Wow, just the image of that car with the Earth in the background, incredible.
Didn't look real, but it was, and it's a big success for this private space company.
And the dummy has the front seat.
He's just chilling there, taking it easy.
So Toronto home sales have come back down to earth in January.
Yeah, they did. We got the official numbers in. Sales down 22% over January of last year. Average selling price just above $736,000. That's down 4% year on year. Detached home prices falling 3.9. They do remain above 1.2 million. Condos, though, strong condo prices up 15%, above 543 grand. But look at the active listings surging 136%. A lot of people putting their house on the market, but the new mortgage rules preventing the type of sales that we've seen. We'll see what happens when we get into the spring season, Francis.
And we got to see what happens with marijuana. So there's some worry in the cannabis business. Word that maybe the marijuana legalization will not actually happen January or July 1st.
Yeah. What's going to happen to our Canada Day parties we've planned, Francis? Government officials are predicting the legalization will only occur 2 to 3 months after Bill C-45 is adopted by Parliament. Problem is, the The bill will need to be passed by May 1st for that to happen, which is unlikely based on the current pace of the Senate's work. They're all backlogged. So end result, it may be well after July 1st before you can legally spark up some marijuana, Francis. But it didn't stop the marijuana stocks from surging, as we say. They were big gainers on Bay Street today.
So let's forget about going out on the town. People are staying home more these days. And Richard, a new report actually finds that, hey, it's actually good for energy use.
Sure is. Just, sitting at home, watching the TV, watching City Biz, right? Research found that we actually spend 7.8 more days at home now than we did in 2003. It's because of the spread of technologies that allow us to work from home, to shop from home, and all that is reducing greenhouse gas emissions. They say that overall energy consumption is slashed by 1.8%. Because, we're staying home watching Netflix instead of going out, driving around. Pretty cool.
All right. Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Francis.
We'll see you tomorrow.